It is rightly said that we should quit living with defaults. Hi friends and professional colleagues, I am Parul Chadda, Deputy Manager at Epic & Associates LLP. This is the 26th video of our web series, that is One Concept, One Slide, initiated by Epic & Associates LLP, and the third video in continuation of our previous videos 23rd and 24th on the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Today we are presenting the procedure and the documentation involved in the corporate insolvency resolution process after the admission of application for initiation of the process by NCLT in case of default. We look forward to receiving your queries, comments and feedback by any means given on the slide. All of our videos are covering a topic updated as on the date of publication on our YouTube channel. Since MCA has brought some amendments in the provisions related to independent directors' online proficiency test, and the same has also led to some additions in the contents of the board's report, we have added additional amended slide in the earlier video numbers 16 and 7 respectively on these topics available on our website. The link to these presentations are also available in the description box of our respective videos on our YouTube channel and can be downloaded therefrom. As we all know, a corporate debtor is declared insolvent if it is unable to pay its debts to its creditors. With reference to the same, the corporate insolvency resolution process was introduced in order to provide a recovery mechanism to the creditors in case the corporate debtor has defaulted in repayment. CIRP is the process through which it is determined whether the person who has defaulted is capable of repayment or not. As detailed in our 23rd and 24th video, if a corporate debtor incurs a default, a financial creditor, operational creditor, or the corporate itself may initiate CIRP by filing an application with NCLT. If satisfied, NCLT may admit the application, and this date of admission of the application is the day when the actual insolvency process is initiated. On the insolvency commencement date itself, the adjudicating authority, that is NCLT, shall by order declare moratorium for prohibiting all of certain services, namely the institution of suits or continuation of pending suits or proceedings against the corporate debtor, including execution of any judgment, decree or order in any court of law, tribunal, arbitration panel or other authority, transferring, encumbering or disposing of by the corporate debtor any of its assets or any legal rights or beneficial interest therein. Any action to foreclose, recover or enforce any security interest created by the corporate debtor in respect of its property, including any action under the Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002. The recovery of any property by an owner or lessor where such property is occupied by or is in the possession of the corporate debtor. However, where the supply of certain goods or services is considered critical to protect and preserve the value of the corporate debtor and manage the operations of such corporate debtor as a going concern, then the supply of such essential goods or services shall not be terminated, suspended or interrupted during the period of moratorium, except where such corporate debtor has not paid dues arising from such supply during the moratorium period or in certain specified circumstances. This order of moratorium shall have effect from the date of such order till the completion of the corporate insolvency resolution process, or if liquidation order is passed in between, then till the passing of such liquidation order. Simultaneously, an eligible interim resolution professional is appointed and he takes over the management of the affairs of the corporate debtor, and the powers of the board of directors or the partners of the corporate debtor, as the case may be, shall stand suspended and be exercised by the interim resolution professional. Within 3 days of his appointment, the interim resolution professional shall make a public announcement in Form A and provide the last date for submission of proofs of claim, which shall be 14 days from the date of appointment of the interim resolution professional. The said public announcement shall be published in one English and one regional language newspaper with wide circulation at the location of the registered office and principal office, if any, of the corporate debtor, and any other location as per interim RP, on the website, if any, of the corporate debtor, and on the website, if any, designated by the board for the purpose. The appointed interim resolution professional shall verify every claim as on the insolvency commencement date within 7 days from the last date of the receipts of the claim, and thereupon maintain a list of creditors containing the names of creditors along with the amount claimed by them, the amount of their claims admitted, and the security interest, if any, in respect of such claims, and update it on a regular basis. This list of creditors shall be available for inspection by the persons who submitted the proofs of claim, available for inspection by members, partners, directors, guarantors of the corporate debtor, displayed on the website if any of the corporate debtor, filed with the adjudicating authority, and presented at the first meeting of the committee. The interim resolution professional shall, after collation of all the claims received against the corporate debtor, determine the financial position of the corporate debtor and constitute a committee of the creditors. This committee of creditors shall comprise all the financial creditors of the corporate debtor. One thing that comes to the mind here is, what if a corporate debtor has only operational debt or all the financial creditors are related parties of the corporate debtor? In this situation, the committee shall be formed with 18 largest operational creditors by value, or all the operational creditors if the number of such creditors is less than 18. One representative elected by all workmen other than those workmen included above. One representative elected by all employees other than those employees included above. In this case, the member shall have voting rights in proportion of the debt due to such creditor or debt represented by such representative as the case may be to the total debt. The interim resolution professional shall file a report certifying the constitution of the committee to the adjudicating authority within 2 days of the verification of the claims received. The interim resolution professional shall also ensure that the first meeting of the committee shall be held within 7 days of filing such report, after giving a 5 days notice to all the members at their registered addresses. After that, every meeting of such committee shall be convened as and when required after giving due notice. The notice of such meeting shall contain details of the matters to be discussed at the meeting, list of the issues to be voted upon at the meeting, availability of the option to participate in the meeting through video conferencing, and other audio-visual means and other necessary details. The quorum for these meetings shall be members representing at least 33% of the voting rights are present either in person or by video conferencing or other audio and visual means. The committee of creditors may in their first meeting either resolve to appoint the interim resolution professional as a resolution professional or replace the interim resolution professional by another resolution professional by a majority vote of not less than 66% of the voting share of the financial creditors. Thereafter, the resolution professional shall conduct the corporate insolvency resolution process. The duties of the resolution professional shall include: preserve and protect the assets of the corporate debtor, including the continued business operations of the corporate debtor. Take immediate custody and control of all the assets of the corporate debtor, including the business records of the corporate debtor. Represent and act on behalf of the corporate debtor with third parties, exercise rights for the benefit of the corporate debtor in judicial, quasi-judicial or arbitration proceedings. Raise interim finances subject to the approval of the committee of creditors. Appoint accountants, legal or other professionals as may be required in the specified manner. Maintain an updated list of claims and convene and attend all meetings of the committee of the creditors and others as may be required. In addition to these, the resolution professional shall also prepare information memorandum in electronic form within 2 weeks of his appointment, but not later than 54th day from the insolvency commencement date, whichever is earlier. This information memorandum shall be provided to each member of the committee by an electronic form and shall contain the financial and other required details about the corporate debtor. Based upon the information memorandum, the resolution professional shall invite the resolution plans. An eligible resolution applicant may submit a resolution plan along with an affidavit confirming his eligibility to the resolution professional. A resolution plan shall provide for the measures as may be necessary for insolvency resolution of the corporate debtor for maximization of the value of its assets, including but not limited to a statement as to how it has dealt with the interest of all stakeholders, including financial creditors and operational creditors of the corporate debtor. Details if the resolution applicant or any of its related parties has failed to implement or contribute to the failure of implementation of any other resolution plan approved by the adjudicating authority at any time in the past. The terms of the plan and its implementation schedule. The management and control of the business of the corporate debtor during its term and adequate means for supervising its implementation. The resolution professional shall examine each resolution plan received by him to confirm that each resolution plan provides for the payment of insolvency resolution process cost in a manner specified by the board in priority to the payment of other debts of the corporate debtor and provides for the payment of debts of operational creditors in the prescribed manner. On being satisfied, the resolution professional shall present to the committee of creditors for its approval such resolution plans which confirms the required conditions. The committee of creditors may approve a resolution plan by a vote of not less than 66% of the voting share of the financial creditors after considering its feasibility and viability and the manner of payment mentioned in the plan. Thereafter, the plan shall be presented for the approval of NCLT, and if satisfied, the authority shall by order approve the resolution plan which shall be binding on the corporate debtor and its employees, members, creditors, including the central government, any state government, any local authority to whom a debt in respect of the payment of dues arising under any law for the time being in force, such as authorities to whom statutory dues are owed, guarantors, other stakeholders involved in the resolution plan. The resolution professional shall endeavour to submit the resolution plan approved by the committee to NCLT at least 15 days before the maximum period for completion of corporate insolvency resolution, along with a compliance certificate in Form H and the evidence of receipt of performance security. The resolution professional shall thereafter submit a copy of the order approving or rejecting a resolution plan to the participants and the resolution applicant. It is also provided that the corporate insolvency resolution process shall be completed within a period of 180 days from the date of admission to initiate such process and a maximum of 330 days from the insolvency commencement date, including any extension of the period of corporate insolvency resolution process and the time taken in legal proceedings in relation to such resolution process of the corporate debtor. Also, before the expiry of the insolvency resolution process period or the maximum period permitted for completion of the corporate insolvency resolution process, as the case may be, a resolution plan is not received or a received resolution plan is rejected for the non-compliance of the requirements specified therein, then NCLT shall pass an order requiring the corporate debtor to be liquidated. You can refer our other videos already published on our YouTube channel. You may subscribe for our weekly light and monthly light newsletters for all the latest updates in areas such as SEBI, FEMA, Companies Act, etc. You can also follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn page for daily updates by referring the details given on the slide and in the description box. We have tried to cover about the procedure and the documents involved therein in the recovery mechanism for the creditors in case the corporate debtor incurs a default. We request you to share your views and advice on this web series, including the topics that you want us to cover in coming videos. Thank you.